It's hard to believe that the 2006 World Cup was nearly 20 years ago. Here we have 5 unopened Panini packs from that very tournament, which will determine our Premier League squad. Let's see who's inside. And we have our squad assembled. For this season we'll be managing Watford as they finish bottom of the division. We've unpacked some familiar names, but some varying degrees of ability. It's going to be interesting to see how this side performs together. Del Piero, despite now being 32 years of age, he's still an absolutely elite player. He played an integral role just a few months earlier as he helped his national side get their hands on the biggest prize in world football. To a man who he'd beat in the final, Claude Makelele. Back in 2007, he played his penultimate season with Chelsea before he departed for PSG. Attribute-wise, he's still amongst the best midfielders in Europe. And behind him, we have another absolute top talent, Lucio. Aged 28, he's in his prime and was tearing it up for Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. I'm very happy we unpacked him. However, not everything is looking so rosy. To say this squad lacked depth though would be an understatement. Mikhail Dogbe played with Togo in the tournament. In 2006, he played a largely unsuccessful season in Dubai's league. This is going to be a big step up. Likewise with Tony Popovic. He was out in Qatar playing professionally. Little does he know, he's going to become an integral piece of our Premier League defence. Tactically, we'll be varying between a 3-5-2 and a 4-1-4-1. As we have no natural left back, I thought it would be best to play with attacking wing backs. It's very hard to predict how this squad will do. The spine of the team is relatively strong, but out on the flanks, we are really lacking quality. My other biggest worry is that our only goalkeeper is Kossi Agasa. In 2006, he was the backup goalkeeper for Hercules in the Spanish second division. Whether or not he can cut it in the Premier League is to be seen. Let's play through the season and see what happens. Our opening game of the season would see us host Chelsea. Torsten Frings would be our unlikely scorer as he fortuitously finds the back of the net. Sadly, goals by Essien and Shevchenko would mean defeat, but a promising start. We definitely had the better chances, and with more ruthless finishing, this could be a good season. In the opening weeks, it's become very apparent just how little depth we have. Guillermo Franco, our third choice forward, spent the majority of his career playing in Mexico and Argentina. For the last 2 games he's been subbed in, and he's not made a big impact. A trip away to Reading saw a good opportunity for us to add to our points total at this early stage. Despite taking an early lead, our defensive frailties were exposed again. That left back position is a worry, so easy to get the cross in, and a simple finish. We'd go on to lose 3-2. With 5 games played, things are looking a little grim. Not only are we amongst the lowest scorers in the league, we've also conceded the second most. We are going to keep persevering with the 3-5-2, but with a few personnel changes. Kanga Akala, as an attacking winger, is definitely getting exposed defensively. We're going to move across Guy Guerra to play left wing back. We could really do with Andrei Voronin coming to life too. So far in his Watford career, he's only found the back of the net once. But the improvement wasn't to come. Down to 10 men, it was an impossible task against Liverpool. Crouch got the second and ensured a comfortable victory. A week later, and we're in desperate need of victory. Del Piero opened the scoring before a ricochet off a Newcastle defender put it in the back of the net again. 2-0 and our first 3 points of the campaign. Particularly impressive performance by the two centre-halves. A few more defeats would follow before a tricky trip to Upton Park. Right wing-back has proved to be a difficult position to fill. Alexander Osland has been a nightmare so far. We're going to try Denny Lanzat instead. And the Dutchman was involved in the game's opening goal. Gilardino gets on the end of his cross, but his effort is parried to Clint Dempsey. Remarkably, that would be the first of 3 goals for us in the last 6 minutes of regulation. Approaching the midway stage, our position hadn't exactly improved much. On the back of consecutive defeats to Middlesbrough and Blackburn, we made the short journey to the Valley for a big 6-pointer. Injuries meant Claude Makelele would be absent. In his place, Syed Alavi, a regular substitute so far this season. I'm curious to see how he's going to do starting. And it only took 15 seconds for Gilardino to open the scoring. Questionable keeping by Dean Kiley, but we'll take whatever we can get. The Italian added a second just before half-time, another invaluable 3 points. With just over half of the season played, we'd accumulated just 13 points in 20 matches. Our home form has been truly awful, picking up just 1 point out of a possible 30. If things don't improve rapidly, I'll be the second manager after Fabio Capello to get Del Piero relegated out of top-flight football. January 1st saw a big game at Bramall Lane. Needing wins, for the second half of the season, we're going to utilise the 4-4-1-1 more frequently. Voronin would score our third and decisive goal of the match and ensure all 3 points came back with us to Vicarage Road. That high was short-lived. In the following 8 games we'd win just once, including a particularly rough 4-2 home defeat to Man City. A trip to Anfield followed, with us suffering an injury crisis, a makeshift back line, also the absence of Voronin, who's going to miss the next few games with a hip injury. In defence, we gave a starting Premier League debut to Eric Akoto. In 2006, he spent the season playing with Grazer AK, a side who finished 10th in the Austrian Bundesliga. And with that in mind, I'm thankful we escaped with just a 1-0 defeat, courtesy of this sublime Alonso goal. As the season drew rapidly to a close, we saved one of our best performances until the end. Del Piero converted, en route to a 3-0 victory. Here are our full season stats. Boularus and Del Piero were 2 of our standouts. There were no shortage of disappointing performances too. Makelele just didn't quite reach that level I was hoping for. Likewise, Lucio wasn't great either. I think he did have some extenuating circumstances, considering he didn't have a natural left-back playing next to him for the entire campaign. For me though, Player of the Year has to be Alberto Gilardino. 21 goal contributions in 34 matches was a great return, and towards the end of the season, he was single-handedly registering us points. His 12 league goals were enough for him to finish 16th in the Premier League top scorer race. On the other hand, the biggest disappointment is probably Osland. Attribute-wise, he looks like a decent player, but he turned out to be a complete liability. But where did we finish in the league? Well, somehow, I got a team relegated with 3 or 4 legitimate world-class players. An impressive feat. Despite our home form picking up a little in the second half of the season, it was still truly atrocious. We definitely had opportunities to move out of the relegation zone, but 2 defeats in the final 2 games meant we were sent to the Championship. 5 Panini packs definitely delivered an interesting squad, made up of players from all over the footballing world. A lot of these guys made notable impacts in the 2006 World Cup, but unfortunately, this time around they couldn't replicate that in the Premier League.